Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Micro Monday remote learning session. Today we're going to be taking a look at medical microbiology. So we're going to be learning what medical microbiology is and why it's so important for us as a society, especially during these unprecedented times. So medical microbiology involves the detection, diagnosis and treatment of infection, as well as the prevention of this infection from spreading both inside hospitals and throughout the community. So there are two main types of medical microbiology. There's basic medical microbiology and there's also medical virology, which looks at viruses, which is obviously very relevant for the moment being. So medical microbiologists and virologists both require clinical skills as well as laboratory-based skills, and they require a certain level of focus and knowledge on viruses and generalised infections. So medical microbiologists don't actually come face to face with patients, but what they do is they kind of liaise in between laboratory staff, so people that do testing, as well as the GPs and hospital staff to ensure that patients are diagnosed appropriately and that any possible potential wide-scale infections are kept to a minimum. So a big part of the medical microbiologist role is ensuring that anyone who is vulnerable to illnesses or specific illnesses, so for example people with asthma that could be vulnerable to respiratory viruses or infections such as the current COVID-19 disease, which is spread by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It's to make sure that these vulnerable people are not put at risk unnecessarily. So another big part of that is to undergo lab testing. So tests can involve anything from bacterial cultures to looking under the microscope for parasites, fluorescent DNA testing, and all sorts of both simple and advanced laboratory techniques. So then once all these tests are completed, what a medical microbiologist then goes on to do is provide advice on maybe containing the infection or possibly even on treatment and antibiotics recommended if it is, for example, a bacterial infection. So looking specifically at medical virology, this career sort of looks deeper into viruses in particular. So for example, any modern viruses such as SARS or SARS-CoV-2, which is the new one that's going around right now, things like avian flu, also managing things like HIV and AIDS, hepatitis B and C and the like. Also, medical virologists are now looking into issues such as bioterrorism, for example with agents such as smallpox. And what they can do is they can help not only prevent bioterrorism attacks by testing early, but also ensuring that if there were to be an attack, how to sort of control this and how to maybe treat people with new, novel or maybe old and dangerous viruses being used as a form of weapon. So medical microbiologists use a variety of laboratory techniques to do their work. So for example, bacterial cultures, measuring antibody responses, PCR, which is a type of DNA amplification and detection technique. And virologists use a lot of other different techniques such as antigen detection and high throughput nucleic acid extraction techniques. So there's a variety of both old school classic tests and newer, more advanced methods. So once a medical microbiologist has completed their tests, the next step is to provide advice. So for example, if they perform their tests and they find that the causative agent, so what gave the person the disease, if they find that it's highly infectious or dangerous, what they will do is usually they will immediately inform any clinical staff, so let them know, hey, there's a dangerous disease in the area. And then from there, experts such as epidemic specialists, environmental health officers and the like will start researching more into the possibility of an outbreak and hopefully keep that contained. Otherwise, for general situations, they will just let the clinical staff know and the results will be delivered to the patient if they're in the ward, or sometimes these results, if they aren't in the ward, could be communicated over the phone either by the GP or sometimes even by the medical microbiologists themselves, although this is rare. So medical microbiologists are incredibly important, especially if you're looking at the current outbreak happening at the moment. So without medical microbiologists, you wouldn't have such advanced laboratory techniques that can diagnose people not only quickly, but efficiently and accurately. For example, during this pandemic, obviously there's been a demand for testing, for a vaccine, and for many other things, and medical microbiologists have been heavily stepping up to the plate in making sure that any demand is met. So without medical microbiologists, we wouldn't be able to perform the appropriate tests, and we wouldn't be able to contain any dangerous infections from becoming epidemics or pandemics. So as you can see from today's session, medical microbiology is not only an incredibly interesting career, but it's also massively important, especially in today's climate. So thank you so much for tuning in today, really appreciate it. Don't forget to keep an eye on our social media for Wild Wednesdays, Forensic Fridays, as well as more Micro Monday content. Also, do check out our website with the link that I've popped on the screen there, where you can find loads of free STEM learning resources, worksheets, posters, and also a lot of the videos that we've been making during lockdown. So make sure you check out all of our stuff, it's really great, and I will see you guys next week for another Micro Monday. Bye!